Hey, what's up, Shane? And welcome everybody to another episode of the Authentic Podcast.
Hey, Sam. Yeah, welcome everybody into another episode here on the Growthentic Podcast. I think we're both excited. It's been a number of weeks here, and one thing that we love going back to when we started this podcast is just talking to each other, going through updates, both professional and personal updates, sharing some of those important nuggets that we've learned along the way that might be able to help some other people out there who are navigating certain situations and circumstances, whether that be fitness, faith, spirituality, family, all the fun pieces. And I know, Sam, you've got your four pillars. I think I'm missing one of them, but I will hand it over
No,
to
you
you.
got it. You got it. There's four.
Nice.
I've said it so many times at this point. It's just natural for you now.
Nice. No, I love it. It's just a great framework to. And actually, before I ask you and we get into your update, that reminded me your four Fs that you have. I saw this. I think it was on Instagram where I saw this post about. It's a picture of a 4-burner gas stove, and it's about keeping and trying to maintain balance in your life. And so the 4 burners have a fixed amount of gas flow that can come in, and where you can kind of invest in those flames. And it was saying that over time, a lot of times you'll have your family life, you'll have your business, you'll have your friends, and then you have your health, are the 4 kind of burners that it represented. And what happens is a lot of times folks will kind of turn down the burners on a lot of times 2 to 3 of those and focus all of their energy, their gas flow on one of those burners. But it really detracts from the other areas. And so I loved the post because it also didn't say, well, no, you can just, go 100% flow on all 4 of the burners and you'll be fine. Is like, no, that doesn't work either. But what it said was, what you can do in life is you can rotate kind of. And so you can really focus in general. You want to focus kind of on 1 to 2 burners at a time, but rotate them in and out. And so there's going to be seasons of life where the business and health might take priority for a little while. But then when you come out of that season, you have to make sure you rotate over to family and friends, and you kind of keep that rotation going to keep everything somewhat in balance, right? But there's no such thing as a perfect balance, but there is such thing as maintaining a long-term kind of more macro balance in life, and knowing that you're going to go through these different seasons. And I feel like for me that has played out so true, especially since having kids and navigating all of that complexity, and starting our own business. So there's this constant draw for your energy and attention in these different areas, and like, how do you manage that? And so I felt like that was a really just great visual depiction of this 4-burner stove, fixed amount of gas flow or fixed amount of gas in your tank to supply for getting things done. And sometimes you have to kind of rotate and ration where you're putting that time and energy and focus as the different seasons come and go in life.
So good, dude. Yeah, I think it's just like awareness, right? Once you have this awareness and life pulls you, stronger to one quadrant or whatever. If it's a triangle, it's a triangle, one corner. It's having that awareness that, like, oh my gosh, right now, like, this requires more of my time and my energy. But without that awareness, you'll go down that path, and all of a sudden you're like burnt out, and you're like, the heck is going on? Or like, you don't know what's going on with, like, your friends' lives, or like your family, relationships are starting to like crumble. But I think it's that awareness that I've been able to build with conversation with you, more kind of intentional conversation with my wife and my friends and my family. Like, it's I think it really comes down to awareness for me, whether it's, like, I don't know, emotional intelligence or whatever you want to call it. But I'm just now much more aware of, like, even the littlest things about, like, tomorrow's Saturday. Like, what am I gonna do? My wife's, away on a trip. Like, what am I gonna do with that day? Right? It's in the past, it might have been like, oh, it's a free day. I'm just gonna do a little bit of work and blah blah blah, and be kind of like mindlessly filling in that day with kind of what I feel like I should be doing. But now it's more like, okay, let me take stock of what I did this week. I definitely gave a lot to the fourth and relatively least important thing, which is my business, which now opens up the door to do everything else on Saturday, right? I'm going to hit up friends. I'm going to, with my family, like whatever the case may be. I'm just so aware now that, um, yeah, I'm just very aware of, where I'm investing my time. And it's been hasn't been the easiest thing, right? Because I think it comes down to sacrifice, like you said, where like you don't have 100% to give to each quadrant. You're compromising that 100% pie to four different areas of your life. So it certainly hasn't been a very easy transition or an easy kind of reframing of how I spend my days. But man, it's so much more rewarding. And I think kind of to segue into just some personal updates. I think my number one thing, for those who don't know, my number one thing is faith and family and friends, then fitness, and then focus. Focus meaning like my business, but I love alliteration, so I keep it with an F. I've been The last few weeks have been very focused on my faith. Every Friday now, I join this morning prayer. We wake up at like 5:30, meet at 6, and it's just an hour of just deep connection, fellowship. We get to learn more about the Bible, and we spend about 30 minutes of that hour just praying. And I'm not a morning person, but I do love the mornings, if that makes sense. Like if I can make it work, I do find such beauty and peace. And yeah, I think a lot of great things happen early mornings. But man, it's tough. It's tough waking up at that time, especially last night where like I got like I think 2.5 hours of sleep. The last thing I wanted to do was wake up this morning. Today we're recording on a Friday, as we always do, is the last thing that I wanted to do, but I still made it. And I think I mentioned, a couple of weeks ago where, I was trying to figure out like why I was having such mental clarity in approaching every single day. And I think it's because I've been feeding so much into that first quadrant, which is faith for me. Um, and yeah, so the Friday morning prayers have been just amazing. Not only because I get a lot out of it as well, but I think I'm also doing what's right, in terms of my faith. Like I owe it all to my Creator, and that's the least that I can do. A little bit of sacrifice, right? Like boo hoo, I slept, not as much as I usually do one night. And I have to wake up a little earlier. That's the least that I can do, and I think that element um, of kind of an added layer of discipline has trickled down to other areas of my life. So I think personally it's been amazing just to observe my own kind of evolution and my faith developing in that way. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but a little update. Most of my friends know, but I'm actually um, removing alcohol from my life from this. I quit alcohol for this year. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I necessarily had a problem, but it's more like a human experiment. I want to see if my productivity goes up. I think this also plays in like into the mental clarity that I've been having more, because alcohol is literally, there's absolutely nothing good except for like maybe the camaraderie that you build with the people that you're going out with. But still hasn't prevented me to go out and still have fun. The NA options are great. But yeah, I think the no alcohol in conjunction with intentional spending time and investing into my faith, at least in the last few weeks and actually the first couple of months of this year, I'd say, has been really, really beneficial and has trickled down to pretty much every like corner and facet of my life. So I'm really happy about that. And I hope if anyone's like struggling with alcohol or struggling with any sort of like addiction or um, is having trouble figuring out like what those quadrants are, I certainly am not in a position to give advice, but I hope that this brief segment as just one other human being sharing his experience can be at least a beacon of light in terms of maybe doing some introspective kind of deep dive into what you can improve in your own life.
Oh man, that's awesome. There's lot to unpack there and kind of weave that into some updates that we've got going on. But will say that when you were discussing about faith, one thing that has triggered me, there's two influences that come into this sentiment that I'm going to explain, and that is my one coach describes it as having God-sized goals, and a lot, and there's multiple people who kind of I think originated that, and you can trace it back, but really the point being there is that I really feel in order to maximize the juice that you're able to squeeze out of life and like maximize that meaning and achieve your highest potential, you really have to have a goal that is otherworldly, and whatever you want to call that, right? Whether it's God-sized goals or a spiritual endeavor that is towards something that's bigger than yourself and bigger than kind of even humanity, right? And having those gives you a north star for the decisions you make in your life. And as an example of that, the way that I think about a lot of the decisions that we make as a family, and Mary and I talk about this heavily, is that a lot of what we're doing is not focused on just what we can produce in order to maximize what we have, but it's actually to get to a point where we can help as many other people as possible and in positively impact as many other people as possible and really give back all of this stuff that we've accumulated knowledge wise and wealth and all of these things over time to be able to redistribute that and help other people to kind of get on this journey. And so ultimately I feel like a lot of times the people who gain the most success and really probably have the most meaning and true form of happiness is when you're on this quest to not really just serve yourself or just serve your immediate family, but it's really to serve the broader sense of family in all of humanity and kind of have that positive impact on the world around you and other people for a long time into the future. And that drives a lot of the decisions that we make. And we often have to go back and ground ourselves in that, kind of like you were saying, where you go back to your faith and it really grounds you and gives you that direction. And again, kind of religion agnostic here, spirituality agnostic, like whatever your case is, uh, if you really want to be truly uh, successful and I think successful and happy in life, the way that you're going to get there is by choosing to serve others instead of yourself. And I'm not saying that in the sense of you have to forego everything that you want to do in order to give it all up. I mean, most of the people, many of the people that I've met that are what I would consider true by societal means, right? Like truly wealthy from a dollar's perspective or a financial perspective, they're also many a times the most giving and charitable people who are sharing everything that they've done to help that they've learned to get where they're at, as well as both financial means, coaching, all of that. And so I think that if you're really on a quest to maximize your fullest potential, like that has to be high up on your list as far as setting God-sized goals or some spiritual endeavor in order to guide you through that. Because without it, you're just not going to have the. I would put it more in scientific terms of like you're never going to get to the energetic frequency that you're going to need to be to get to that level. And the only way to get there is going to be guided by that type of goal setting. So, yeah, we're getting some perspective and zooming out there, which is amazing, and I think can help people in so many different ways of wherever you're at in life and wanting to go towards that higher potential. And like you said, I think one thing of giving up alcohol, relating that to my experience is kind of like treating yourself, if you're into athletics, like a professional athlete or whatever the case might be. If it's not athletics, then it's maybe musical or artistic ability or any of these skills, right? Treating yourself like you are trying to become the world's best, the Olympic gold medalist, best in the world at whatever. And then so we drive a lot of decisions in our life around that, towards getting to our highest potential, higher potential. uh, those decisions should be supportive of that. And so we kind of evaluate a lot of things in our life. And so it's like, okay, is this aligned with what we're trying to do? And for me, reviewing the alcohol, I was like, yeah, do I really gain a lot of benefits from that? And like you said, outside of the social interactivity that's associated with it, there was not a whole lot of other benefits, for personal uh, health reasons. And now it's fortunate that one of the fastest growing segments out there for food and beverage is non-alcoholic beverages. So there are plenty of amazing options, and yeah, I love my non-alcoholic beers that I'll have when we go out as a special occasion. And when you make that switch, over time, it just becomes the a new part of your programming and kind of your DNA structure per se of like how you yeah, identify in the world. So I am excited to track that as you go through the year and recap what your thoughts are at the, kind of quarter. Each quarter we'll see how you're doing and check in on that.
Absolutely, man. And the whole thing though right now for me is what am I doing with like fitness? The marathon was like the big thing for me for the better part of like 1.5 to 2 years. Um, and I'm just, just kind of just doing hit workouts and regular, not very exciting things. So starting to think about what could be the next thing. Maybe there really isn't anything. Um, but I certainly, in that third quadrant where fitness is plugged in right now, I want to start thinking about what I can um, kind of consume myself when it comes to that area. Because yeah, you can only do so many of the same hit workouts, man.
Yeah, I think there's
We'll
a
see.
lot of opportunity there. Kind of in a similar boat. We interestingly enough, back to your four Fs, and now we could even call it the four flames. Looking at my more of the visual analogy here, but for me, I've made a conscious decision, kind of as a family unit, that I'm going to forego the Spartan race that was originally planning on for last year. Got injured, pushed it out to what was going to be this April. But when we looked at in January, kind of like what do we want to prioritize this year? um, it was like, okay, we got to kind of turn down the fitness flame a little bit, in a sense of, you know, training for Spartan Ultra is no slouch of a goal. And so that was going to take a significant time and energy investment. And so we've decided to kind of redistribute that, obviously maintaining health and wellness and fitness. And I'll say that I think one of my changed goals around that is actually going to be, normally it's like faster, stronger, bigger type stuff. This year, I think I'm going to change that a little bit to be more around longevity based balance activities. And so for me, that's going to look like ramping up more yoga and stretching and calisthenic type stuff to help with kind of alleviating some of those pains and things that have come up over time and crept up over the years, to set a foundation for more bigger activities, bigger goals around fitness in the future. But I think like kind of reinvesting in almost like a little bit of a healing process. And I think there's going to be a lot to be gained, not only on the fitness side by investing more in some yoga and balancing that out with more active, like hit running workouts, like that'll still be a part of it. But I think there'll be a really fun spiritual element involved with that as well. So excited to kind of ramp that up and get that onto paper as an update to our, at least my goal for the year, and then start integrating and executing on that.
Nice. And not to say that Mary can't do a Spartan Ultra, but if she does do yoga, that could be a fun thing to do together as well. Kind of a two bird, one stone scenario where you can,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
definitely. And
yeah,
I mean, that's something, as you add more, um, a little bit, I would say, in some senses, complexity to your life, because as you have kids and you add more responsibilities, the amount of time you have to get really creative with those blocks. And yeah, that is a time like doing activities that are fitness focused, also for us have a spiritual element, and that we can do together. Like that's like you said, we can hit a couple of birds with one stone, and that's a nice overlap there. So definitely something that I'm thinking about as well, and coordinating that. So yeah, I'll keep everybody posted on that, but that's kind of the overarching goal. And not that you, if you have to change your goals, it's okay to go revisit those and kind of think about what might be different, what might be next. And as you go through different phases and seasons, like the goals will change naturally, and you got to just revisit those and kind of redistribute them.
amazing, man. Look, any updates on the business side of things before
Oh
we
man,
let
I would
go?
say on the business side, it's been exciting. We've done, oh gosh, let me see if I have it here real quick. I'm trying to think of the like hard numbers. So I would say that in the first 2 months, we've done as many proposals as we did in the first quarter of last year. Yeah, so we're basically like doubled our proposal rate, and if our win rate stays the same, then that'll translate to the kind of like twice the volume. And then from a dollars and cents perspective, I think our average deal size is also going up. So we could be a 2 to 4x off of that side of it. And yeah, we're getting excited. We're still ramping. We're 2 months out. So April 28th is when we're going to start our 8-week AI activation cohort program. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have people from all different roles. Again, a lot of our focus is kind of on the engineering space. So we'll have folks that are from engineering powered companies, is what I've been calling it lately. So there's like a core engineering contingent there, but there'll be folks from all different roles at the engineering companies attending that. And it's been last week, I actually got to do a little bit of a cross country tour somewhat, and make my way out to Denver to visit some clients, a number of folks who attended our training in the fall, and just get that in-person feedback from them, and things that they're working on and that they're doing, and just super impressive. And it's just makes it so much fun, very rewarding to have them go through a program and then be building all these tools, and some co-pilot agents, and different things that they're really starting to see the vision for their business where AI plays a big part of it. And so we love kind of initiating that, activating it. That's what had a little name change for this spring into activation, because I felt like it better described what we're doing there. It's really an activation piece. And then from there, we get more into the acceleration, the integration, adoption. And so, yeah, that's been super exciting. And um, the other really, really big takeaway, which I'll probably kind of carve out my educational session on in future episode, is I'm going to weave AI and business finances together, because I would say the biggest breakthrough since probably we last talked on the business side, and probably one of the biggest milestones that we'll, I think, probably ever have from a business, is I read the book Profit First, Mike McCallowitz. I don't remember if we talked about this at all in the past, but since we did talk about it, if we did talk about it since then, we have instated it and been executing on it. And it's such a simple system, which I love the simple systems. There's an app that he kind of fintech app called Relay Finance, and it's basically a bank that's kind of optimized for the type of system that he has set up, where you set up different checking and savings accounts for the different kind of major buckets that you need to have for your dollars for your business. So you'll have an income account where all the income comes in. Then you have a tax bucket, you have a profit. Well,
Mm.
first one, of course, is profit, because it's profit first. But profit first, then you'll have owner's comp bucket, then you have your expenses bucket and your taxes bucket. And it's so cool because in the app, this fintech app, you can actually have all your income routed into the income account, and then you can set up automations. And then based on a percentage, which in the book and online, he talks about like what to start those percentages out as every so often, which in the book he recommends the 10th and the 25th of each month. The fintech app goes through, sweeps the money based on percentages and distributes it into these other holding accounts essentially. And so really quickly, you're able to see the financial state of your business as far as how much is in your profit account, how much is in your owner's comp account, how much is in your operating expenses, your OPEX account, and then how much is in taxes. And so if you do that religiously over time, you have your taxes covered, you're going to automatically get some profit from your business, and it helps you control those operating expenses. And so we are 2 cycles into that, basically a full month into it, and man, the confidence, it has been transformational. And I would say like I truly believe in every bone in my body. Anybody who's starting or owns a business, start out your banking and money management in this fashion. It's easy, it's simple, it's digestible. Do it that way, and it's almost a near guarantee that you will make a profitable business out of it. It's just that simple and that just transformational. I cannot recommend it highly enough. So I am super thrilled with that. That's been like our big breakthrough and given us so much confidence and clarity around the financial money flow side. So I'm really excited to kind of look back at the end of this year and see what that looks like.
It's amazing. I just know, especially for like bootstrap companies of one who are just starting off, it might just look binary, money in, money out, but that breakdown, it's a sign of a healthy business. But also, like you said, when some months aren't as good as other, it's nice to know the level of forecasting that you can do by having those breakdowns, right? Maybe it's one month that you need to, change the percentages a little bit just to like help with forecasting for the upcoming quarter or whatever the case may be. So, man, I feel like we could definitely spend an entire episode just digging into that and sharing our personal experiences because, yeah, I've gone through so many evolutions of money management for my business, and yeah, I think there's a lot of value for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, put that on the hit list for the next episode. We'll do a
Absolutely.
finance. And now it's the other thing I'll preview and lead with is it's easier than ever because you just have to get a hold of your banking transactions, download them, and you can use, again, I would recommend a paid version of any of your choice LLM, a ChatGPT, a Claude. Paid version, make sure you got your privacy settings set correctly. Don't train the model. And then pop those in there, man. You've got a CFO at your fingertips. And if you want to use a specific system or management system, then it can analyze and do all that for you. I did all of that, and I got this system set up in with AI helping me throughout the process. I mean, you're talking less than 2 hours to do all this and have a complete full analysis of last year's financial picture. So highly recommend it, and look forward to doing a future episode on that one. That'll be a lot of fun.
Amazing. Amazing. Cool, man. Well, thanks for all the updates. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else, but always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, definitely. And if anybody's interested for engaging, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Shane Chalupa, and Sam typically likes LinkedIn. And how can they get you?
Sam Lee on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Key Rise Consulting is the business name. We look forward to engaging with anyone there.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sam.